We take you over there, the USA basketball team bus right now, and their assistant coach and the great Syracuse basketball coach, Jim Boeheim, joins us. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, going good. We're just finished practice and headed back to the hotel. A lot of bus rides over here.
I'm sure there are, and there's probably some traffic as well. It's been kind of a wild few days here when you look at an 83-point victory, a tight game against Lithuania, a first half that was difficult against Argentina, and then a second half blowout. Why is it so uneven?
Well, I'll tell you honestly, these teams have improved even from Beijing, the Olympics in Beijing. These teams are better. They really are. They've gotten better. They're very well coached, as we all know. And, I think our team's playing well. But if you slip just a little bit, if your defense is just a little bit late, they make shots. They have guys that can all shoot. And the competition here is better than people think, and it's just if you've been in international basketball for a few years like we have, you know that these teams are a lot better than people give them credit for. Their execution, the way they can shoot the ball, and if you're not on top of your game defensively, they can make points. We had a great first half offensively last night, and still up one at halftime. But the second half, our defense came out and we played good defense and turned the game back around. But that's what you're in for over here. We've got three more games potentially like the one we had last night.
Is the inside game an issue at all? I know Chandler got into foul trouble in the first half. Is that an issue against these teams?
It really is not, because even though we have a little bit of a disadvantage on defense, we have a tremendous advantage on offense, where they have to guard LeBron or they have to guard Carmelo at the 4, and that's very difficult for them. So even though we have some difficulty with size, they have as much or more difficulty matching up with our scores.
How different is this for you and the entire coaching staff in that nobody thinks that you can lose this thing? I mean, you've had great teams. You've had great teams over the years, but I don't think you ever went into games where you suddenly everybody says, "Well, Syracuse is going to win the whole thing."
Well, we do have some games like that, but not many. But there's no question here that that's the only result that everybody would be happy with. But it will have to be something that we earn. We earned it in Beijing. It was a tough final. I'm sure we're going to have to earn it in the games as we go forward. It's just the way it is. When you play sports, you realize that in a game situation, anything can happen, and you just have to make sure you do everything to keep it from happening, and that's what Coach K is doing, and the players are doing. They're doing everything they can to make sure that there's nothing that we could have or should have done, so that when the tournament's over, we'll be able to look back and say we did everything we could do. We've only lost one game in 5 years, and Greece shot 65% for the game to beat us. And that was 5 years ago, and we're a much better team now than we were then. So we feel that when that situation comes up, that it's a tough game, as we have had this year. Tough game with Lithuania, behind late in the game, tied with Argentina, tied with Brazil. We feel that these guys know how to make the plays in those situations and win the game. But we are under no illusion that it's going to be easy. It is not going to be easy.
Mike Krzyzewski has had opportunities to coach in the NBA. You, I'm sure, have had opportunities over the years to coach in the NBA. You elected to stay in the college ranks. How different is this for you, Jim, in coaching guys who are making an awful lot of money and are superstars out there?
Well, the good thing about it is the money and the superstar status doesn't apply to this team. This team, nobody's making any money here. They're all here to play for the country. They're all here to be part of the team. So it's different than coaching in the NBA. It's coaching a team that wants to win and wants to do what it needs to be done to win. And you're coaching the best players in the world. It's fun to do that. and it's fun to see some of the things that these guys can do up close. It's really, if you watch these games, you're seeing some of the greatest players play some of the greatest basketball that can be played. I really believe that.
Do you get an opportunity to spend any free time in London, seeing any of the other events, or doing anything other than coaching?
We've been to a few tourist things, the Eye of London and the Westminster Abbey, a few things like that. But it's every other day you're playing a basketball game, so that's really what you do. Every other day, the day off is to get ready for the next game, and then you play the game, and then that night you look at tape for the next game, and the next day you get ready for the next game. That's the way it's been since we've been in London.
When you walk around, people recognize you? Do you get people that want to come up and talk about Syracuse?
No, it's
really?
been good. It's been kind of an anonymous trip. I did get one guy who wanted a picture, but I think he probably mixed me up with somebody else. Although he did say Syracuse.
How strange is it, Jim, when at the end of these games you see the players for the other team coming up to the players on the USA team, giving them their shoes, asking them to autograph stuff for them, like they're fans, showing up.
Well, that was just Tunisia. The other teams are here to win, and they don't want any autographs. They think they can beat us, and it's an entirely different thing. In '92, the teams couldn't compete. These teams all can compete. They're really great teams. A lot of NBA players, a lot of great international players, and they think they can win, and that's why we have to be very sharp and be on top of our game.
We were talking about this earlier, the possibility that on Sunday for the gold, for the final, USA against Russia on the 40th anniversary of the 72 team with Doug Collins being part of the broadcasting team. Do you want Russia, and would this add to the lore of what we're seeing here?
I'm sure. I think one, so I don't think and coaches.
We're starting to lose Jim here. Jim, can you hear me? All right, I think
the Russians got a hold of the phone line.
This is an interesting thing. We had the commissioner yesterday, apparently, plug into a phone with a guest, and today we lose it with Jim Boeheim.
Do you want that? I mean, I know
I do.
It's not exactly.
Listen, I think
you saw it. You were around for that.
Yeah.
You know about it.
Yeah.
Russia's not exactly the big rival anymore, politically or sports wise.
No, it was a much different political climate in 1972 than it is today. So it would be much different. But I just think it would really just add to the whole thing. We've got Jim Boeheim back on there. Sorry about that, Jim.
That's the tunnel.
You want Russia, right?
I don't think so. I think that that was so long ago that we'll play whoever's there. Russia's very good. Spain, but all these teams are very good, and I don't think it matters who you get. It's going to be a difficult game, and our players, they weren't born in 1972, so they're not concerned about that. Russia's very good, but Spain is really very talented, and our goal is to just make sure we play well, and whoever's there, we just need to.
I think we hit another tunnel. All right, we thank Jim Boeheim for spending some time with us from London to talk a little basketball.
One of my favorite things about Boeheim is I think we're up by 72 the other day, and they did a shot of the bench, and he had the Boeheim face with the hand.
It's the same.
It's always you'd have thought it's a tight game that he was really grinding.
No, it's always the same.